Hi, this is Will with My Spiritual Clarity, and today's video is about my PDF cheat sheet on the 8 pillars of the imposter complex. So I'm going to share a little bit about that, but I'm also going to go into a specific detail of a question that I had from a client recently when she first got, and we've been working together for about a month, but she saw the PDF with the 8 pillars, each one in there, procrastination and overwhelm and the inner critic, and she got overwhelmed, which was ironic because I just did this workshop on overwhelm and shifting out of overwhelm, and it was in that workshop that she found out that I had this PDF, and she said, "Oh, I would really love to see that. It would be really helpful." I sent it to her, and then she got overwhelmed from the 8 pillars because as she read them, she realized she has all 8 going on. So I'm going to read you a little bit about what she wrote. My computer's going to jiggle here a little bit. So she said, ironically enough, as I started looking over them and looking at the 8 pillars, I started feeling overwhelmed because I resonate with almost every single one. So as I mentioned, there's, let me see if I can do it from memory. Procrastination, overwhelm, inner critic, feeling like a fraud, playing small, not owning your expertise, the helper's paradox, which is called people pleasing or overgiving, and then crappy boundaries. So those are the 8. So she said, but it brought up these feelings of overwhelm, fear, I guess, self-doubt, because my mind started immediately going, where do I even start? How am I ever going to clear this many beliefs? I have so much work to do. I know the sheet says to do 1 a week and not get overwhelmed, which makes sense, but it immediately overwhelmed me to the point where I'm not sure which one to start with. I'm often indecisive, and I have that freeze response. I'm not sure if it's partially because I'm still clearing from our group session that we had. I've still been running this specific belief. I'm not going to share it because that's her belief to clear. I hope that made some sense. Let me know what to do. So here would be my answer to that. And this applies not only to my work with the 8 pillars of the imposter complex, but anytime you get overwhelmed with a process or the process, I have been a master at this. So there's a couple aspects. One is what an acorn taught me about self-love. And the second is why many of us get overwhelmed. So I'm going to start with the second one. So why many of us get overwhelmed, and especially myself, I know this intimately from my own inner workings. The best way to make sure that you never make progress and never do anything is to, whatever you want to call perfectionism. So when I used to try to get organized, I'd get everything all in one place all at once. And I'd look at this big pile of papers and all the things on my computer and I'd go, ha. Or, I've got a day to do things around the house and outside on the property. So I make sure I write out the whole list, and then I look at the whole list and I go, ha. Or it comes to energy work and belief clearing and all the crap that's in the way of my expansion and visibility and greater success. So I make sure that I capture all those negative beliefs, and then I look at that whole list and I go, ah. So if you want a recipe for overwhelm, if you want to make sure you get overwhelmed, make sure you collect everything that you haven't done that you feel terrible about, put it all in one place so you can feel really bad, and then you're just going to need to couch it for the rest of the day and watch a movie. So that's a recipe for success. Now, if you happen to be one of those amazing, wonderful people that naturally, easily, and my wife is actually quite like this, where she could make that whole list and she'll go, oh, okay, here's the big list. Let me just start with number 1. Boop, 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 boop. And then she goes to start with number 1. I'm not like that. I'll get overwhelmed and I'll beat myself up and feel terrible. A lot less now than I would have even a year or 2 or 5 years ago. But if that's you, then this video is for you. So what an acorn taught me about self-love. I already have another video that goes into detail about this, but the basics of it is when you can hold all that gently and just take the next step. Frozen 2. If you've not seen Frozen 2, I have a 5-year-old daughter. She makes me sing it to her every single night, the songs from that. Go watch it. It's a really lovely movie in a lot of ways. And one of the songs is just take the next right step. Do the next thing. When I made this video, I went into my list of all the content that I have to make. There's a lot. And I went, that one. And I jumped in and I'm making this one. I've got time to make 2 videos. I already made a different one, making this, just that one. So part of that is, yes, I've done the thinking work earlier on in the month to decide some of these things. But the other part is to just you're never going to get it all done. You are never done. You're never perfect. Those are platitudes and not always the most helpful, but it's still true. So what can you do about it? Well, the first thing, let's say even you've already collected all that stuff all in one place and you notice yourself getting overwhelmed. Well, here's what you can do. Try and run this clearing. See if it works for you. The belief that you are wrong or bad for having this much stuff to do? Would you be willing to destroy that at the point of creation? The belief that you're never going to get there, so why bother? Why even try? Would you be willing to destroy that at the point of creation? The belief that you must be a bad person, or you must be bad, or you must be wrong if you have this much stuff to do or this many limiting beliefs that you've identified. Would you be willing to destroy that at the point of creation? So when you can hold all of that gently and realize that the acorn can't grow if you keep poisoning the soil. I planted so many amazing seeds throughout my life as an entrepreneur, and none of it could grow, or at least not very far, because I would plant the great seed, I'd even water it, but then I would add toxins to the soil. Unknowingly, I would be, roofing my house and letting all the crap from the shingles get into the garden, and I would be working on my car muffler right beside I'm trying to stretch the analogy here a little bit, trying to think of how does one get toxins into the soil of your own personal garden. But you get the point. I kept poisoning the soil and then wondering why the seeds couldn't grow. You don't have to do nearly as much work as you think you do. You just have to stop poisoning the soil. You've planted the seeds. So now as all that crap comes up and as you get overwhelmed, just go, yes, I'm getting overwhelmed. What's one of the limiting belief clearings that Will suggested to run? Or what's one of the energetic processes that he gave me? Or if you have that PDF of the 8 pillars of the impostor complex that my members have, just any one of them. Just pick one and just run that clearing. Just run that process. In the beginning and for quite a long time, it doesn't really matter which one it is. Just pick one and do it. Just like if you're lethargic and having a crappy day at home, just go for a walk or a swim or a run or a nap. But just pick one. It doesn't really matter which one you do. Just pick one of those things and do it. It's a state change. As Tony Robbins talks about. It's a state change. Just go do that one thing. Okay, so that's a video about overwhelmed. I hope I didn't overwhelm you with this video about overwhelmed. Oh, but don't get overwhelmed thinking about overwhelmed, because then you'll be overwhelmed and you won't do anything because you're so overwhelmed. Just go do one thing. Go hug a tree. If you need some trees, I got some. This is Will with My Spiritual Clarity. If you like this video or it's been helpful for you, please like below or subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want to find me, I am at myspiritualclarity.com. Have an awesome day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.